Welcome back. You are tuned in to IBL, inspired by Onika, speaking on life and inspiring people. Welcome to this episode of Poetry Flip. So for anyone that's here for the first time, let me just give you a little background about what Poetry Flip is about. So in these episodes, I will recite some poems that I wrote on my blog, and I just randomly pick which ones, I'm going to recite for certain episodes, and it just depends. I may pick one that's related to something that's going on in the world at the time that I publish, or, I'll just pick something at random. And if you ever want to read the written version, you can head over to my blog at www.inspirebyOnika.com. That's INSPIREBYONIKA. And, if you ever hear me say, this poem is written in response to a prompt by one of my fellow bloggers, that just means that one of the bloggers has posted an image or a word or phrase, and they invite other writers to write a piece about that image or that word or phrase. And, you can join in or not join in. And just to keep it fun and interesting, they'll give you some guidelines. They might say, so your piece can be no more than 50 words, or it has to be 8 lines long, or you have to include a certain word in your piece. So they just give you different things just to keep it interesting and make it fun. So whenever you hear me say that's what it means. And even, the ones that I don't join in, I read what other people write too, because that just, to me, is interesting to see that we're all looking at this same image, but we all have such different perspectives. So, I think it's interesting. But anyway, so that's basically what that means when you hear me say that. And all the poems that I recite and that are on my blog, they are original poems that I wrote. So let's get started with today's featured poem. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the IBO podcast, and this is episode 46, and this is number 11 in the Poetry Flip series, and today's episode is titled Unity. So this particular poem I wrote back in February of 2023, so 3 years ago, and the reason I picked this particular one is because it's Black History Month, and when I wrote this, I wrote it with Black History Month in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and here we go. Unity is peace. Unity is the umbrella. Being united means coming together. Together for whatever comes our way. Differences, views, and opinions. The issues will come our way almost every day. Unity will be the saving grace. Grace keeps our sanity together in every way. Grace begets compassion and understanding. Compassion for what is different than us. Understanding for things we don't know. In our hearts, grace and unity will overflow. Equality, acceptance, hope, and love is what a sense of unity does for communities both below and above. We may look different on the outside, but we all have blood running through our veins. Let not those things make us collide. When we have grace, love remains. Unity, not division. Let's love take over. What we thought we knew about one another. Take the time to speak. Speak to that sister or brother. Resist the urge that breeds hatred, violence, and racial bias. We may not always agree. Unity is what frees. Black History Month and year long promote unity, not the same sad songs of brutality, racism and wrongs, unity pushes everyone along. Poem. So as you can see, it's about unity. And so you probably understand now why I picked this particular poem for Black History Month. So Black History Month started as something that was just celebrated. It was like a weekly thing that started, but then in 1976 is when it turned into something that was a celebration for the entire month. And let me say, well, maybe celebration is not the right word, because this all came about because of the civil rights. We were not always given certain rights as Black people. And, for example, voting rights, we didn't always have that. Of course, slavery, racism, discrimination, segregation, all those kinds of things were things that, we have overcome as of now. Even though some of these things still remain and we still deal with some of these things, it's just not to the full extent of what it was back then. So how will you celebrate Black History Month? So I think one thing we can do for anyone that has children is that we can teach them certain things that may have been left out of the curriculum at school, because even though they learn about some of the famous Black inventors, civil rights activists, and things like that, there are some things that I'm sure are left out. And so I think we should definitely teach our kids, especially our younger kids, about these things so that they have the information, so they're aware of what it's all about. So this month, how will you celebrate? You can read about all the Black inventors, the civil rights activists, and just people who have made such a major difference in the community, and not just the African American community, but for everyone, everyone abroad. So that is the end of my poem for today, called Unity. And if you want to see the written version of the poem, you can always head over to my blog, which is inspiredbyonika.com. And the title of the poem is Unity. So I thank you for listening today. And before you go, make sure to share with a friend, also subscribe or download, depending on where you're listening to this. And then also, you can find this episode on the Podbean app, YouTube. You can find this on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. So again, this is episode 46, Poetry Flip number 11, and the title of the episode is Unity. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the IBO podcast. You can hear this and all episodes on the Podbean app, YouTube, and Spotify. Until next time, stay well and be blessed.